Hello and welcome to 20 Lore Pro. I'm your announcer today, SirAshtown, and we are here in round 6 of Milton's Collectibles 2.5k Lorcana tournament DLC Toronto format, meaning that sets 1 through 4 with the Buckey errata. Really excited to be here today at Milton's Collectibles as we are here live at the Dallas Card Show's convention, Investabilia. If you are in the Dallas area and are looking for a card show to contend or a convention, head on over to dallascardshow.com where you can find out more. They're going to host another convention September 5th through the 8th. $35 a person, VIP access. Head on over to dallascardshow.com. We also want to thank Diamond Ink Apparel for making all of 20 Lore Pro's art for all of our playmats and for our t-shirts. Today's playmats that you're watching there on the screen that you see before you, those are made by GFQ Underground. If you have a custom playmat that you'd like to have printed or want these beautiful playmats that you see before you on the screen, head on over to 20lore.pro, where you can find our merch store to our fourth wall where you can purchase these today. Or head on over to GFQ Underground and shoot them a message with your custom art and they will put it on a mat. Here we are in round 6 of 6. After this, we're going to head into the top 8. Ice piloting a possibly Amber Steel song. We have seen some aggro lists with cards like Lawrence and really just getting ahead. Versus Aaron, piloting Aaron piloting a Amethyst Ruby list. We've seen a lot of Amethyst Ruby, especially from players like No I'm Not and Luca during the Charlie's Collectible Show 10K that we hosted maybe a month back. We'll have to see if it's evolved in any way in the DLC Toronto format. Here's Ice playing a turn 2 Mr. Smee. This can be pretty interesting because some players have opted to play a surprise Amber Steel list, and instead of going the more traditional route of Steel Song, they're choosing to play a more aggro character list. And sometimes you get so used to playing in your local meta, you get so used to playing a certain deck, that these surprise lists that kind of come out of nowhere can really steal games because of that factor. So it's always good to know the meta, great to know the cards, good to know the playstyle, but also to be thinking about what are some of your opponent's outs and things they might be playing. And here's a shift with a Sing. Grab your swords. I don't hate this play. Getting rid of the Flynn frenemy. Want to prevent a turn 3 Sisu from really coming in here and allowing Aaron to be able to just gain extra lore for free, keeping as many triggers off the board from Flynn frenemy. And there it is, in fact, the Sisu on Aaron's side of the board. Ice did have to sacrifice a pretty good board damage card, but honestly, when you're piloting a Amber Steel song, you know you're going to hit more songs. Here's Ariel, great example of that. And a lot of Aaron's cards are going to be stronger than 2 regardless. If you need a strong removal, hopefully you got it there in Strength in the Raging Fire, or you find it in Zeus. Ice really representing a lot of singing power and a lot of questing ability. Those cards can get eaten up though by Aaron's Sisu. Ice has 2 cards in hand, 2 damage on the Mr. Smee. There's another Flynn frenemy from Aaron's side of the board. Lots of cards in Aaron's hands, may have options, hopefully has options I should say. Really thinking about his plays here. Ice may be playing the Amber Steel with Whole New World. If that's the case, inking and playing out as much as you can on Aaron's side of the board becomes that much more important. Ice having possibly the whole new world can reset his hand, play these songs. He's got two five singers. There's that Queen's Castle. Great thing to have on the board if you know that you're about to get wheeled. There's that Robin Hood up on the screen for you to see. That Champion of Sherwood is able to sing a 5 song. Sisu does take out that Mr. Smee, wanted to prevent Ice from getting too high on the lore. Already at 7. Having 2 characters on the board that can sing for 5 each. Very strong position for Ice to be in, depending if he has the cards to follow it up with. Does ink the Rapunzel. That may be a really strong indication, in fact, that he has the ability to whole new world, or else getting rid of that Sisu and then damaging your character drawing extra with the Rapunzel probably would have been the right line. He's thinking about if he wants to go into that Sisu. As long as he hasn't fully tapped and let go of the card, he can still decide if he wants to go back or not. Now, Aaron having 4 cards in hand, this is not a bad time to whole new world, regain a strong hand, and find some great follow-up plays. Strength on the Sisu gets rid of it and does a whole new world. Now, having done that, he does still have 5 in his inkwell, able to have a follow-up play. Aaron, kind of sensing that danger, playing that Queen's Castle last turn, will help him have 2 extra lore at his upkeep. Great play by Aaron, making sure that he had a setup. That way he could have some board presence, some ability to gain resources. On Aaron's turn, he will be at 5. And there is the Queen from Ice, a 3rd character that can sing for 5. Now this is I would say a matchup that we've seen since the beginning. This is a Lorcana staple, hasn't gone anywhere. Set 1, Amber Steel Song versus Ruby Amethyst. Ruby Amethyst, though, looking a lot different than it did back then. Used to have cards like the Mirror, Ursula's Cauldron. I mean, very different list, but so fun to see that it lasts even to this day. There's that Queen for you to re-up there on the board. Is a 5, is able to sing for 5, and its ability very relevant. Whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character gets -4 this turn, and chosen character gets +4 this turn. Pretty relevant when you are challenging and your opponent plays something that you need to get rid of quick. And also is great against this castle. There's that Brawl, getting rid of Ariel. Good target for that Brawl. The Robin Hood may have also been a great target, only because it has that 5 toughness, is a lot stronger in the sense that it has more durability than the Ariel does. Also presented more attack power. I'm sorry, I do this all the time. Brawl is 2 or less. I always think it's 3 and it's able to get rid of Robin Hood. That is my mistake. And that's what I was talking about last turn. The Queen able to give a reduction in one of Aaron's characters while buffing the Robin Hood, able to take out cleanly that Queen's Castle in one go. Followed up by another Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood. Playing another great singer in Cinderella. Aaron here, not having the Queen's Castle anymore on the board, but does have 2 Chernobog's followers, representing 2 characters that can really help draw more cards. Only problem is in a matchup like this, doing them one at a time, most likely preferable because you never know when Ice is going to use another whole new world. Aaron choosing to save his cards, challenging them in to the Queen, getting rid of it, banishing it, following it up with a Madame Medusa, getting rid of one of those Robin Hoods. Madame Medusa is able to do 3 or less, whereas Brawl can do 2. And there's Ice with that Zeus. Along came Zeus, one of the best, if not the best, removal in Steel. Using that Cinderella quest, saying if you have a Maui, might as well play it against me. Going up to 10. Aaron's gonna need to see more card draw, more recursion, these rabbits, things that can really help him refill his hand, but also establish a board state. Maybe even these goats that can present challengers while getting lore against multiples of these cards. There's another Brawl. Keeping Ice's board clear, does still have this Robin Hood. A Maui from Aaron would be great right here to cleanly take care of this Robin Hood. Able to quest up to 12, playing another Robin Hood. I believe this is his 3rd one this game. Aaron needs to find a Maui or something that can cleanly take care of the board. Is at 7 ink. Could play a Brawl, or I'm sorry, a Be Prepared. These Robin Hoods really representing 4 more lore on the board. Be Preparing right here, not a bad option. Let's see what Aaron's able to do. It looks like doesn't have the Be Prepared, but does have a Maui. Great answer. He's reminding his opponent that that will have damage on it. Aaron does not. He doesn't care because he knows he's got this Madame M Fox. Maui just really representing a strong character that so many players know, a staple in Ruby lists, almost a 4 of every single time. Ice playing, in fact, the flute version of Ambersteel's song. This flute now really representing lore basically every turn now. Going up to 13, using the flute. Does he have a follow-up play? Maybe even getting rid of this Madame M Fox. Let's let the Storm Rage on. Not too bad. And there's the Lawrence that we mentioned earlier. A 0/4 that can quest for 2. Has 4 attack if it's got no damage. Card that's pretty strong, especially early game. I believe it's only a 2-drop. Another Maui. Followed up by a goat. Starting to see characters that are pretty strong, but there's that Lawrence on the screen for you to see. It is a 3-drop, in fact, instead of a 2. Still pretty good 3-drop. Really, at this stage of the game, with a Lawrence that can quest for 2, a flute that can give you the extra 1, pushing you up to 17, 18. It only takes a couple more songs for Ice to really take this game away. And there's one song already inked right there in Bare Necessities, probably indicating that Ice does have multiple songs to play, if not extra sleepy flutes. There goes A Whole New World. A really good card for Ice to see here. Maybe a second flute? Not even needed though, as long as he drew a bunch of songs. That flute presents really a clock that Ruby Amethyst isn't able to really contend with once players get to this count on the lore. And here goes a Piglet from Ice is playing some quick characters on the board. 18. Even a Be Prepared at this point. Still worth playing it out, forcing your opponent to have the cards they need in order to win, but needs to be prepared here. At least to stay in the game, going up to possibly 7. We do see the B prep. A Whole New World really having put Ice in a great position in this game. He's played it twice, and every time it has been phenomenal for him. Aaron looks like he's vying his options. I think he's gonna have to quest and be prep just to allow him to stay in the game, force his opponents to have the songs or characters to win. And I believe he does go up to 7 with the goat leaving the board. Hopefully he has a follow-up play with 2. Is able to play a Flynn frenemy with one of those magic brooms. Flynn frenemy here, not too bad. If he's able to get 3 lore as upkeep, there's an Ariel challenging that ability. Ariel looking for a song, doesn't find one, may all be in his hand. There's a Grab Your Swords, able to clean up Aaron's side of the board and allow him to go up an extra. Ariel taking 2. I've made that mistake myself. Inks a song, not even needing it. I think this game is all but done here in round 6. First game goes to Ice. Ice really able to establish his board pretty quick with those characters able to sing for 5 and then utilize them to recur songs and maintain control over the board on Aaron's side. Well, congratulations to Ice on winning game 1 here in round 6 of the Swiss. After this match, we'll be going to top 8. We want to thank these 2 competitors so much for competing here today at Milton's Collectibles 2.5K in Allen, Texas. We're here live at the Dallas Card Show Convention here in Allen, Texas at their Investabilia. We want to thank the Dallas Card Show for allowing us the game space to be able to play in today's tournament. If you are in the Dallas area and are looking for a card show convention to head to, head on over to dallascardshow.com to find out more. They'll have a convention coming up on September 5th through the 8th. So if you're in the Dallas area and want to attend, head on over to dallascardshow.com. Again, I'm your announcer, SirAshtown. So glad to bring you today the latest in competitive Lorcana as we are looking at DLC format tournament, meaning that this is sets 1 through 4 with the Buckey errata. Really excited to see these types of decks because it is kind of like a small format. It's different from what we saw for the majority of set 4. We only are going to get to see it for 2 DLCs. One already happened in Europe, one's happening in Canada. Really excited to see kind of what these players build in order to take to Toronto and what we might see at Toronto. We want to thank our producers in the background, Stunning Rob, the founder of 20 Lore Pro, for helping us behind the scenes, along with Luxac, our producer of today's stream. Thank you, the viewers, for joining us over on Twitch. If you missed any of today's rounds or want to re-watch any of today's footage, head on over to 20 Lore Pro's YouTube where you can watch later on this week. If you like the playmats that you're seeing right now on the screen, head on over to 20lore.pro, go to our merch store where you can buy yours today. If you'd like your custom playmat or other 20lore Pro playmats, head on over to gfqunderground.com. GFQ Underground makes custom playmats for your play group or any of your events, so head on over to gfqunderground.com. We also want to thank Diamond Ink Apparel, the artists for 20lore Pro. They've helped make several of our playmats, and we really appreciate Diamond Ink Apparel. If you have a custom t-shirt or a playmat that you'd like to make, head on over to head on over to Diamond Ink Apparel. There's Magic Mirror up. This is a card we may never see again on the screen. I just can't think about all the cards we used to play in Ruby Amethyst. I used to play Ruby Amethyst back in set 1. I played it at PPG Miami. I played it at PPG Houston side events. I loved the old school Ruby Amethyst, and it is very different, especially with Magic Mirror and Ursula's Cauldron and Aladdin's just getting in there with the pocket watch, the rabbit's pocket watch. Such a classic. Well, here we are going into game 2 of round 6. Ice piloting a Amber Steel Song versus Aaron piloting Amethyst Ruby. Aaron starting us off here in game 2. Here's that turn 1 queen. There's been some debate within the community, and I think it's always going to be a debate. Some people say if you get the turn 2 shift queen and you have Whole New World, you go for it. I think it depends on what's in your hand. If your hand is very viable and you have follow-up plays and it's not necessary, don't have to force yourself to go into that play line. If you mulliganed and you got some cards that were not very good, you have the queen shift and the Whole New World, that might be a time for you to go ahead and do it. We see right now that Aaron has no cards on the board. Not necessarily the worst state to Whole New World in, refreshing your hand and having a 4/3 on the board that can quest for 2. Things to consider depending on the cards in your hand. Looks like he was thinking about playing a Mr. Smee. I am not a good Amber Steel Song pilot. I know that because my little brain says shift queen, play Whole New World. But the more experienced players will tell you the best way to do it is to assess what's in your hand, your lines of play with what's presented on the board on your opponent's side. If you're like me and you see card, play card, sometimes you just do good and hope for good. Here's that brawl taking out that queen. Aaron possibly thinking that shift line could have been followed up by the Mr. Smee. Not a bad decision on Aaron's side, especially when we didn't see a turn 2 Flynn frenemy and we didn't see necessarily the turn 3 of it. Here's an aerial, able to grab your swords, and there was the queen. So he did have the shift line, possibly not the Whole New World, which makes that line not bad, but it just opens it up to where you may want to play different cards like aerial. Aaron inking that Flynn frenemy, seeing that there is already a Mr. Smee already late into this game, says let me play a rabbit out, draw cards, get my hand up. You have the aerial, you might have a Whole New World, but now I've got a rabbit on the board that I can recur if I need to, or use it for fodder in this case. I shouldn't say fodder. Really, a card you're not very upset with getting Zeused. Although when players are playing against Ruby Amethyst, I've heard the term in my locals, see rabbit, banish rabbit. And it's because it's very scary when you start seeing Ruby Amethyst just recur rabbits all the time, just rebouncing them, gaining card advantage. These Steel Songs don't have to worry about it too much because they can whole new world when they see a Ruby Amethyst hand getting too big. But not a bad option regardless for Ice to go ahead and just get rid of that rabbit to prevent any of that shenanigans from happening. And we see really Ice is presenting a lot of questers. Aaron though here on 5, Maui may be coming down. Might take out one of these great singers like Ariel before it gets out of hand, and there's the Maui. Exactly like we said it, Ariel presenting a huge threat that Maui is able to handle. Preventing Ice from being able to cleanly sing here a whole new world if he does have it in hand, or any other type of removal cards like Let the Storm Rage On or Strength of Raging Fire. Really, we're seeing here pretty classic lines from both decks, but I do like seeing some of the newer variances that we see in Ice List. He's playing some Bare Necessities. Sometimes they play it, sometimes they don't. A little bit of a debated card. When we see the rise of Emerald Amber, like we saw in round 4, that's a great deck to play Bare Necessities against. When we see Lawrence's and Piglets, we're seeing some variance in this Steel Song list, and I'm about it. I'm here for it. I like seeing the variance. I like seeing the change. I mentioned this earlier that playing the same stock lists, sometimes your opponents know the lines, they know the plays, they know, okay, I'm seeing against this deck, I know exactly what to expect. Putting a little bit of flair, a little bit of difference in your deck list can kind of help you give a little bit of surprise. What matters is the testing and understanding of why a card is in your deck and the reason that it's in there. We play test a lot with 20 Lore Pro, with Luxac being one of our main designers of a lot of decks, or at least I should say teaching us why we play certain characters, and that is what he stresses all the time, of know why you play certain cards and what they're good against and what they're not. That way you know when to play them and when to ink them. We see that Maui is taken out, Ariel taken out now by a brawl. We see a back and forth here going on. Ice not able to maintain any of these characters that can sing for 5. Aaron doing a great job of disrupting Ice from being able to get free plays. Here's a pretty big CISO. I think it's buffed by 4. Decides to take a peek at Aaron's hand. There's a giant Sisu on Aaron's side of the board in his hand. That is a pretty strong shift. Not able to get rid of Mr. Smee, but goodness, it would get rid of an Ariel. Ice, already knowing this is coming, decides to draw, singing with the Rapunzel. Gets rid of it, does not want to see Big Sisu played for any less than it deserves to be played for. I think a very viable option here. And I love his sequencing of play, deciding to look at his opponent's hand first, finding out the threats, finding out what he needs to do first, and then playing. And really, I think that was a very fantastic show of order sequencing of your plays. He may not have double Sisu. In fact, I would say he probably didn't need a double Sisu without knowing that Aaron had the big Sisu. Some of these lists don't play the double Sisu. Or sorry, some of these lists don't play the shift Sisu. There's a Big King Undisputed. Thinking about what he wants to get rid of here. Now, the Rapunzel would stay around a lot longer and is able to quest for 2 just like Mr. Smee, but the Mr. Smee can deal more damage. It can also take damage, meaning that if you have a Rapunzel in hand, not a bad character to have on the board for the next turn as a follow-up play to draw with. Aaron here at 1 card in hand. If Ice is able to get a little bit of a better board state than Aaron, he doesn't necessarily have to whole new world. And that's a very important thing for Amber Steel Song players to know is if my opponent is low on cards, their board isn't very strong, I don't have to whole new world them. I can just see what my top decks are, what their top decks are, and really answer then. Ice right now having 3 cards in hand really has more options than Aaron does. The problem is that Aaron, lots of strong cards that he can draw into that are great top decks that can then help him get ahead. Looks like they're talking about whether or not Ice is really at 11 lore. So I'm hearing back from the producer right now. They checked his lore, but it looks like they're going to continue play. He's thinking he may have missed something. Again, we want to thank y'all so much for watching today. We're going to have all these up on YouTube later on this week. There is a be prepared from Aaron. Just not wanting Ice to be able to draw. And that's a great indicator saying that you chose to keep Mr. Smee over Rapunzel. Does that mean that you have a Rapunzel? I think it probably does. Or else that's a great bait or bluff from Ice. Does play the Ursula. There's Aaron having exactly enough ink to play out the Sisu, getting rid of the Ursula. Sisu now a huge quester at 3. Here's 2 damage. See if Ice is able to finish it off here. He can still ink. Yeah, this Sisu, not only is it strong, but the questing power of 3, very good. And now here is a Robin Hood. Talk about presenting a character that you do not want to trade a Sisu with for Aaron. But sometimes with these Steel Songs, you know they either have the removal or the character. Tough decision if he's gonna quest or not. If he quests, that Robin Hood's coming into it. If he doesn't, he leaves it open to song removal and then having no lore. There's the grab, able to clean up Aaron's board. I can't fault Aaron at all for that decision. That's tough. You know that they have a lot of songs that can deal damage, but you're at 0 lore. I think going up is probably worth it, requiring them to get rid of your character, but I see why a player would go either way on that call. Ice with another Ursula. Now it's time to just start questing. He's already at 13. We know he plays flutes, going up to 15. If you have a flute, not a bad time to just play it out. That way you can get these songs to just give you more lore. Has a board full of small characters, each one of them able to quest for more and more. Here's Aaron playing a Queen's Castle with a Sisu, able to move it over. Has exactly enough. We saw 8 earlier, so it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to move it. That's a big strength. Able to just quest out here. I believe that's 19. And I think that's going to do it here for round 6. Unless he got a be prepared, which you never give up just in case. Did not draw a be prepared, and that is the game. Ice is our winner here of round 6 of today's tournament here with Milton's Collectibles 2.5K Lorcana tournament. Congratulations to Ice for winning round 6 and Aaron for playing a great match. We want to thank both of these competitors for coming out today and competing in today's tournament, and you, the viewer at home, for watching here live on Twitch. If you missed any of today's tournaments or want to re-watch any of today's rounds, head on over to 20 Lore Pro's YouTube, where you can see all of those videos up later on this week. Again, we want to thank Milton's Collectibles for hosting today's tournament and for the Dallas Card Show for allowing us to use the venue to do today's tournament. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back here for the top 8.